Hello everyone, welcome to Junkcast. In this live session, I'm going to show you how to create a custom switches using CSS. In my previous video, I have shown you like how to create a custom custom button group, custom checkbox, custom radio. And in this, like I would like to, I was quite interested to do a switch mass. It's like a toggle switch, but what I've noticed instead of going with if you look at the most recent web applications, instead of going with S no options or radio or something like selectable things, when it comes to only two choices and go for one choice, now most of the UX developer are preferring the toggle switches. And if you look, and you can see those switches available in most of the recent frameworks like Material, Bootstrap, and other third-party frameworks. So let's dive into the coding part now. So I'm just going to show you like how the switch will look like. So I'm just going into the material design pattern, which I mostly follow. Search for selection control. Yes, sorry, here we have, yes. Yeah, so these are these are switches which I talked about in this video. So we'll go and try to create something like something similar to the one available in Material with pure CSS. In Material design, they have used JavaScript for the ripple effect and for the toggle selection things. But in this video, we'll try to focus more on CSS rather than going with a JavaScript functionality. Yeah, let's dive into the code part now. With pure CSS in material design. Okay, so let me check whether I have routed my things. Yes, I think I should. I have routed my file switch.html. So first thing I just want to do is okay, let's write a text for the let's say h2 create CSS switch selection control. Yeah, it's get reflected. And now I need to construct my structure of the switch. So I usually go with some structure like a container, and within the container, I'll place that element. In that element, we will try to we will have that content. One more a child element where we are going to show that particular design of a switch kind of design. So I'm going to create a container called div class input switch container, and within that container I'm going to have my switch and labels. For the switch, I'm going to have my classes input switch, and then the label which represents the on off. I'm going to have it outside that within that container, but outside of switch. So let's say like label for basic switch so we'll go with off state then on state. Yes. Now what I should do, I need to create my switch element. So since here I'm using something like an on off, right? I prefer going with checkbox. So input type checkbox, Then for this particular input, either we can go with target that element with types checkbox, or you can go with our own custom class names. So I prefer going with custom class name like input switch, then with a native control. Okay. Yes. So if you look at here, right, we have a checkbox and an on off. Then what I should do, I'm going to do like after the switch, I need to have my I need to keep I need to have the ring, and I need to have a rectangular path, and within the rectangular path I should have a circle, something like this. If you look at here, right, we have a white background, red circle, then a gray pattern rectangular path. So in order to construct that particular piece, I'm going to name have a different group class div block. So let's say I'm going to we call it like div class input switch thumb, and then we have like underlay, and within that underlay I'm going to have my switch thumb, which is nothing but the circular one, div class okay. So now I got it, and again like I'm going to, so this is the so it's something like a tool pattern, like, so now the circle was a thumb and the circular and the rectangular pattern should be, I need to design. So for that I'm going to keep a div element for that. So call it like input switch track. Okay, so now we have constructed our page. Now we have constructed our page, but still we don't have a proper styling part. So we need to do the styling for that. So let's go here. The first thing I recommend people used to do, I recommend like always have a background color rather than whites. So just say like E4, E4, E4. Yes. Now my background color got updated. And once it is done, so now the next thing I'm going to do is like I need to align this switch and the text. So let's say like input switch, say display inline block, and then I'm going to have like position relative, and then outline none, then user select none. Then I need to do my input switch, the label one, margin left 10 px. I think somewhere it is wrong, like input switch display inline. Okay, something I think I did a great mistake. So all these things should be within that input switch. I missed that part. So input switch. Yes, I think it's a bad format of my div representation. So now I adjusted. So it's something like container, then you have a switch, and within the switch you have a switch group, and then the label text. Okay. Yeah, now the next thing I just want to do is like I need to hide that input checkbox. So for that, say input switch native control, and say left 0, right auto, position absolute. So position absolute is going to move my switch to a different place, and then the next thing I'm going to give is like opacity as 1. I'm sorry, so give opacity 0. On giving opacity 0, the element seems to be disappeared from that page, but ideally it is somewhere within that element, but it is not readable to the user. Then we'll go with the default one like top 0, margin 0. Then I'll say like cursor as pointer events as auto none, and we'll give a width of 68 px and height of 48 px. Okay, so so what we did, like we just hided that input switch. Now we just want to design the rectangular path and the track. So we'll go one by one. So we'll design this track first. So let's say like background color as 0, 0, 0, and then we'll have the border color as same 0, 0, 0. Then we'll give box sizing as border box. Then we'll give width 32 px, and then we'll give the height of that thing to be 14 px. Yes, so we got a rectangular shape one, but it was not we have a rectangular path, but we just wanted to size it to be something curved on the edges. So we'll give like border 1 px solid, and then we'll give the radius to be 7 px. Yes, also like to have a graded one, we'll just give some opacity to that one. Okay, so now the color got faded out, so point A is 38, and then I'm just going to give the transition effect. So the basically like this particular effect was not from it's not my own coding one. I took this code from material design to have something similar to that. So let me get it from material itself. Okay. So this was the syntax from material, so it's not. Yes. Okay, so we have did the switch thumb track part. Now we need to do the thumb part. So before doing the thumb part, right, the thumb is something like which is inside that underlay. So in order to make that underlay and the thumb, so the underlay should be in position absolute, and then the thumb should be within that underlay. So the underlay is the one which is going to decide that sizes and position. The thumb is going to just have the color and the width. So we'll do one by one. Like so, input switch. We'll go like thumb first, and we'll say like width has 20 px, height as 20 px, border 10 px, solid, and border radius as 50%. Yeah, so we got a circular circle, but it was not aligned properly. So what we just, so the next item things we just to do, like we'll go with box sizing. Yes, so now we got a circle and then the track. So to make it available within that underlay, so we'll do the positioning for that. So input switch, let's say thumb, and then the underlay. You can name it like anything, like underlay or overlay. So the first thing I'm going to do, like, so I need to make this. Okay, maybe I can show you the later part. So let's say position to be absolute. Okay, so now then we adjust one by one, like top. It was not, so we'll give 10. It went high. Oh, still it went high. Okay, let's have it within 10. We'll just check one by one. And once it is done, so now I'm going to set the width to be 48px, height to be 48px, then display flex. Okay, so everything is done, and let's say like align these items as center, then justify the content to be in, so I'm just positioning all the elements to be in center. So then I just want to give like left to be, we'll adjust a left property, left -1px, 10, yeah, somewhere. Let's give a 16, yeah, 17, yeah, 17 is pretty, no, it's, let's go 18. 18 is pretty fine, and then we'll go with the top one. 15. Yeah, so 17 looks pretty decent. If you look at the design, right, so it is something like the track was at front and the circle was at the second level. To move it in the first level, we'll apply the z index property. Now the circle came up and the track went behind the circle. Yeah. So we designed the thumb and the underlay, but still we have one more thing to do. So what? So that is something like at the initial level, always have that circle to be at the x coordinate. So it will be like translate x0. Okay. And now what we should do, like when we are going to click on, right, the thumb should move to the right hand side. So we'll go one by one. So we'll say like if this native control was checked, and the next thing to do is like this thumbnail underlay should have something like transform, then use translate. So I'm just moving, whenever it is checked, I move to extra right hand side, so we'll give like 20px. Yes, so now let's check this one. Yes, so now if I'm going to click on, it is moving to the right hand side. If I'm going to click on off, it is going to the extreme left. So to make it differentiate between on off, let's apply some color pattern for this one. So again, I'm going to say like if this is as, if it is checked, and apply on the thumb one, we'll say like border color as hash 01H7H6. Okay, so if it is checked, the underlay track should be in green color, and again we'll go one more level. Says like if it is checked, the track should be in, so now the thumb will be in green color, Okay, we'll just curve the track. So we'll give it as border color. And the border color to be transparent. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to choose on. If I choose on, the background color was that circle was dark green and the part track was light green. Yeah, so it is pretty much close to the material one except the ripple effect. If you want to have some kind of effects within the through CSS, then you can add transition, add underlay, and the thumb one. Maybe I can. So again, I just want to say like these are not the styles from my side. It's from material design. I just take this one. So transition. Okay, let me remove this one. And again, we'll give a transition for thumb one. Sorry, it's a box shadow effect for the one. Yeah, so these are these particular styles are pegged from material design, and it's not a my own one. So let's see like the effects behind that. Yeah, pretty smooth. If you consider the previous one, the transition effect was smoother, which makes it more smoother. Yeah, so that's it for today's live session. If you have any questions or comments on my current video or the pre-existing video, just share your thoughts on the comment box, and we will meet soon on the survey part, which was started yesterday, a couple of days back, and we'll continue to work on that. We'll meet soon. So, for any feedback, share your feedback in the comment box. Thanks for watching this channel.